Welcome to another edition of the program. Well, the time now is 9:25. Tonight, we have a lot coming in. And from what you heard, you know that we have to deal with the Supreme Court situation. We're going to tell you what happened in the Supreme Court. Now, I have a very interesting story now. We got wind of a conversation between two of the esteemed Supreme Court judges this morning about what should happen. One of them was voting in the majority, the other one was voting in the dissenting. They had a conversation about it, and so we will tell you what they had their conversation about. When the verdict came out as 5-2, many were those who felt that 5 of the judges disagree with Alban Bagbin, the Speaker of Parliament, but 2 of the judges agree with Alban Bagbin. It's actually not so. It's not that 2 of the judges agree with Alban Bagbin. 2 of the judges felt that the matter ought to be settled in the High Court other than the Supreme Court. And the rest of the judges felt that the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction having been invoked, they had an obligation to hear the matter and to give a verdict. So the dissenting opinion from the Supreme Court is not that 2 of them agreed with Alban Bagbin that those 4 seats are vacant, but that those 2 who dissented did not dissent on the substantial issue as to whether the seats are vacant or not. The view of the matter is that if you're doing fidelity to the procedure, according to the 1992 Constitution, pronouncing vacancy of seats is the exclusive preserve of the High Court at the first instance, and then later on the Supreme Court can talk. But in the circumstance of the matter and the way in which it has been carried out, it makes sense for many people to see why the Supreme Court accepted that their jurisdiction, original jurisdiction under the 1992 Constitution has been invoked, has been correctly invoked. So we'll get to that detail in a minute. You know that here we do fidelity to the analysis. We'll bring you all the actions, different aspects, and then we'll tell you what is the provision in 1992 Constitution. So that's our mainstay at now 9:25. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen, you see the victorious applicant, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, majority leader in the middle, Gertrude Tokonu, the learned Chief Justice, and of course, the learned Attorney General, Godfrey Deboadame, who stood on his feet to make all of those arguments. Yesterday, he spoke for half an hour, explaining why the Speaker of Parliament did not or cannot have a personal interest in this matter. Of course, we all know that there's 25 days to go for election 2024 here in Ghana, and we are all looking at it very, very keenly. 25 days more to go. Can you imagine? 25 days to elect a new president. There would be a new president in Ghana because, of course, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is exiting after a successful 2-term. Yeah, that's controversial. We can debate it, but I think it's been successful 2-year term for the president of the Republic of Ghana. If you don't think it's been successful, go out to the regions and ask them. They will tell you that it has been particularly successful. It's been fraught with difficulties. It's been fraught with a lot of difficulties, international difficulties, economic difficulties. But all in all, the president has held his own, and he goes away as a very, very distinguished leader of one of the greatest African countries. That's my belief. You can challenge that. No problem is allowed. Tonight, I have a quote from you later on the touch screen about free speech. And when I get there, you will see Noam Chomsky. Is that his name? Noam said that he's a great social critic and political scientist. He said something about free speech. Maybe they're putting it on. Is it already on? Okay, let's show it to the viewers ahead of the conversation. So Noam Chomsky, he said, if you believe in freedom of speech, you believe in freedom of speech for views you don't like. Nazi propagandist Paul Goebbels was in favor of freedom of speech for views that he liked. So was Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin. If you are in favor of freedom of speech, that means you are in favor of freedom of speech precisely for views that you despise. That's interesting, isn't it? Later tonight we'll be talking about that because social media has been awash with heavy criticism against journalist Nana Aba for welcoming Dr. Bawumia's announcement that there will now be free dialysis at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. Dialysis will never cost money again. This is the government of Akufo-Addo and his vice president. They understand how to give things to Ghanaians free. One gave free SHS before Dr. Bawumia becomes president. He said there's free dialysis. Dialysis was a big matter over the last 4 months or so. 5 months ago, we were talking about dialysis. Somebody went to Korle Bu, couldn't do the dialysis. We were talking about it all the time. I'm not so sure why the opposition didn't come in and promise that when they become to power, dialysis will be free. I'm not sure why they didn't do that. But Mahamudu Bawumia, the incumbent government candidate, has now implemented that from December 1, dialysis is free at Korle Bu. That's interesting. And Aba Namwa welcomed it, and then she had I'm not sure she was surprised by it. We see that all the time. Okay, so we're dealing with Supreme Court today. And then we have a report from the Electoral Commission's press conference. The Electoral Commission has held a press conference. Jean Adukwe-Mensah says that she now has a complete total voters register, and the forensic audit will not happen. The forensic audit that was asked for by the NDC is unnecessary, it is superfluous, and it cannot be part of the 2024 process. So the voters register, cleaned up, sacrosanct, ready to go, credible, is now ready. We'll be telling you that story. That's a press release from the Electoral Commission you can see on your screen right now. And the Electoral Commission also announced at the press conference that they have asked Roman Father, as he's called, that he's disqualified. He cannot be a part of the elections. So all of this and Supreme Court and another report from the United States of America, Professor Eche Sikaku has put together a 30-minute video that shows us why Donald Trump won the elections in America. Yesterday, I read something from the Economist Intelligence Unit, didn't I? I did. Okay. Everyone sees me in the street and says that interview you had with Dr. Osei Oduchim was amazing. Can you show it again and again and again and again? We'll see whether we can show some of it tonight. Good evening. Welcome to the show. And now let's get onto the touch screen. We begin with our flyer. Again, our flyer was interesting and people were talking about it, weren't they? So this was our flyer. Earlier today, Supreme Court has decided in a 5-2 majority. Perhaps it was all about the word remain in Article 97 of the Constitution. Full analysis on the touchscreen. This is what we put out. The dissenting videos. And we use silhouette, and we don't understand why media houses are showing the photograph of judges of the Supreme Court. I think that's very wrong. I think it's very, very wrong. The GJA president should call people to attention. You can't, as a media house, be showing judges if they're seen on television, if there's a photograph that they took that they published, that's okay, but you cannot deliberately be showing pictures of judges. So what we do is that we put the silhouette over there. So Lovelace and Lovelace Johnson and Amadou Tanko, both of them dissenting on jurisdiction. And you have Justice Tokonu, who led the court as the Lord CJ. She believes that the 4 MPs cannot be asked to leave Parliament. And she also thought that the Supreme Court has assumed jurisdiction correctly invoked by the applicant. Mariama Owusu is the other person in the 5. Adibu Asiedu, Jehu, and Dako Asare Dako. They are the 5. We'll be talking about the decisions that they made today in some great detail. Okay, so let's look at what people were saying about the flyer. All right, so Alhassan A Square says village lotto forecaster. Okay, that's all right. Naif Abdullah says, I can't wait to watch the most informative and educative program. God bless you, Sir Paul. Thank you very much. Naif Abdul Samed Yamba says, JM's plans of resetting the country, remember you are part of it because you need a reset too. We already know what you are coming to say. Abdul Yamba, thank you very much for watching anyway, if you're watching. And now we have Jibet Tech GH. He says, I hope the Supreme Court has a large hall to start holding parliamentary sittings there to transact government business until 2025. Chief Justice will double as Speaker since Mr. Speaker has no right to determine which seat is vacant or not. Then which else, what did he say? Which else decision can he take as the Speaker in the floor of Parliament? Jibet Tech GH, you need to be ashamed of yourself, okay? We are building a republic. The Supreme Court makes a decision. It's not against anybody or for anybody. And you come and write these kinds of things and calling the Chief Justice. And you think when you do that, it means social media has come. So you can do that, say anything about anybody. I think that's very shameful. And you should bow down your head in shame. I know some of these people have no shame. But I'm speaking for the youth who are watching that this is not the way to go. This man has no shame. He'll continue to go like that until he goes down the drain and he's flushed down forever. But don't copy him, okay? Don't copy him. This is not how we do it. This is not how it's supposed to be done. All right. The other one is this. He says, Ahmed Mustafa says, it's important to raise awareness about the implications of this ruling, particularly as it pertains to the role of the Speaker of Parliament. This decision has significant consequences for our democratic values and highlights the need for a deeper understanding of the principle of separation of powers. I am confident in my perspective of this ruling, and I believe that its impact will resonate globally with the opinions of judges being remembered for years to come. I believe that as well, Mustafa, and Richard says, Mustafa, yes, there's separation of powers, but there's also what we call checks and balances. Yes, indeed, there is checks and balances, separation of powers. That is Montesquieu's theory, published in 1778 in a book entitled Esprit le Loi, Spirit of the Laws, published in Paris. Okay, Zactio says that, what are the NDC saying to the judiciary? Because I heard yesterday they won a case and this constitutional ruling isn't what they expected. Is the judiciary working well or is it biased? I want to know their position. Okay, Kusisa Kodia says, good evening, Paul. The EC has disqualified GFP presidential candidate but has stated that Madame Ikwa Donko picture will still be on the ballot. How can a dead person be on the ballot, assuming she gets the popular vote? What happens? Were they not going to print new ballots if Roman Father had qualified? Democracy is expensive, so the EC should delete her from the polls and do the right thing before someone goes to court to halt the process. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, Boahima says, I was glad when I was called into the house. I was glad when I was called into the house. Good evening, Ghana. All right, thank you. Akaswal Hassan says, Village Lotto forecaster. Kweku the Traveler says, this MPP woman organizer acting as a Supreme Court judge is a disgrace. Knowing well that the unanimous 5 will do it again, she intentionally added 2 judges who know nothing about what they did previously. No wonder they abstained. Did they abstain? They didn't abstain. What a disgrace to Madam Chief Justice. That's unfortunate. Next election says Apostle Paul Adumotre. The interpretation of the Constitution must always be left to the doorsteps of the Supreme Court justices, like how Justice D.F. Anand did with the revetting of ministers after the appointment when the mandate of the government was renewed. This would have saved us from embarrassing spectacle we have been seeing of our honorable members of parliament and the Speaker Kumkin. Okay, I shared that letter here, Justice D.F. Anand, who acting as Speaker, when he was told that the Supreme Court is listening to a matter, he stopped whatever Parliament was doing. He stayed anything Parliament was doing. Asked Richard Kwame Pepra not to present the government's budget, which was necessary for the whole country. We needed a budget to pay staff and to pay workers and to pay everybody. D.F. Anand said it's important that we build a democracy. The matters that have been raised in the minority leaders' writ, the constitutional matters at the Supreme Court, Parliament should not do anything to prejudice the constitutional matters raised in the rate of the minority. That's what the view of the legendary, may he rest in peace, Justice D.F. Anand. But that was not the view of Alban Bagbin. He doesn't feel that the Supreme Court, if a matter is there, must do anything. He said that he has received the writ, but he proceeded to do what he wants to do. I don't know. I can't pass judgment on the Speaker, so I leave it. Who is Supreme Court? NDC is coming to do the job well for Mother Ghana. Okay, no problem. Nanaya, it says, if I were you, I'll be gathering my evidence. Oral. What's oral? Sani Abacha says, my political science lecturer, I hail you. Oh, Sani Abacha, how are you? Samuel Osei says, the law is what the judges say it is, but this is a misjudgment. Okay. Kwesi Che says, we're in this country some few weeks back when a certain personality whose party are seeking power now bastardized and criminalized the courts and the law. The result, 3 judges, including a breastfeeding female judge, were not only murdered but burnt beyond recognition, save God's timely intervention of a rain. That fateful day, their bodies were identified and properly buried. Today, we are at it again, bastardizing the court. We have a history. I was thinking the agenda to reset will have started from home. As they say, charity begins at home. Let the NDC reset itself against the disrespect and bastardizing of the court and the law. Then we can have faith in the agenda of a reset. Until then, Yamutu, he says. All right, that's the last of the text messages. Let's see what Samira Baumia has been doing. The second lady, wife of the MPP presidential candidate, has been at all over the country campaigning. This is Samira here in your shot. She's been campaigning across the country, and she got a citation from a group of people, Tabital Pulaku International Ghana Annual Event in Volta region. I'm not sure what that is. Yes, but this is Samira in the Fulani communities across the country, engaging with them and telling them how they should support her husband because she will be there for them. It looks like they have quite a big number of Fulanis in Ghana. Oh, I like this photograph. I like this man. He's entertaining the audience. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he seems to be really enjoying himself. Samira Baumia there in the company of some of the senior Fulani leaders, walking around with them and showing them. They are showing her to a few things they've done, and she will be urging them all to vote for Mahamudu Bawumia. This is the Fulani community, the male leaders there. I believe they are leading in prayer as I see them holding their prayer tools. It looks like they are rendering prayer. A lot of them coming in here, and the campaign has been very massive with the Fulani communities. Samira Bawumia is going there and telling them that they should elect her husband, Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, who is also the candidate of the new Patriotic Party. I understand that President John Dramani Mahama was in Ashanti, and now he's in Atebubu. When the photographs come, we will we'll have a look at it. Let's see this video of Dr. Bawumia, the MPP presidential candidate, talking about the dialysis machine, talking about the dialysis policy, the new dialysis policy, which is that the dialysis will be free in Ghana from the 1st of December. Have a look.
Ngofo bebre nya kidney problems enti omo hia dialysis dialysis no so sika no dawso nipa bebre ntimi entua saa sika no enti 6 months ago ye started pilot say ye the dialysis no beba national health insurance so nipa na omo ye over 60 any under 18 for the last 6 months Omuji dialysis and the national health insurance free. So pilot no, yeah the pilot no eba every from December 1st this year. From December 1st, all kidney dialysis patients Omubeji and the national health insurance free for kidney dialysis from December 1st.
Free dialysis for kidney patients from December 1st in Ghana, announced by the Vice President. And guess what happened thereafter? Our friend Nanaba Namoa said, I'm beyond excited that from December 1, dialysis treatment in Ghana will be free under the NHIS. Gosh, this is a huge relief for patients who have been who've struggled with cost for so long. Thank you at M. Bawumia for making this essential care accessible to all. And she has photographs of some patients and she's celebrating with them. Now, as soon as she says that, the NDC bandwagon goes after her. I think Bawumia can now cancel e-levy, betting tax, greedy lady, etc. They called her. Kevin Ashon says, I'm certain this will stop when he wins the election. These people aren't our friends. What does it mean? Mahama will soon campaign. He started the dialysis treatment policy. That man is a waste. Okay. Mamiesi says, you are doing a good job championing the cause of this government. Question is, maybe if they fix the economy, he would have been able to afford it. There are other ailments that are not being covered. We are still in debt and haven't paid any loans since 2022. Should we expect another tax burden next year? Should they win this election, etc., etc.? That generated a lot. You see, Fabdo says that, you see, when scam can't identify it. When you see scam, can't you identify it? I'm shocked at you. Even the basic disease that the NHI is supposed to cover, are they able to pay? People go to hospitals and apart from the bed and consultation, they have to buy almost all their drugs from outside of the huge cost. The NHIS is not able to pay on time the basic cost for the basic treatment that covers it, and yet Dr. Bawumia wants to scam again. Okay, Yusuf, you are the same people who said free SHS was a scam. That's what you people said. Fifi Kuti said it's all lie be lie. Sami Okujito Ablakwa said it will collapse in 5 years. You people said it's a scam. Are you still talking like this after you have lost almost every point about thinking things are scam? You lost every point about innovation. You lost every point about policy. Any policy that comes, you say it's not possible. That's what I don't like about certain group of politicians. A policy comes, you don't dream a policy. Another person dreams a policy. All you say is that it's not possible. Why is it not possible? If it's not possible, show us your alternative. They don't have any such alternative. That group of politicians, we should banish them into the dustbin. We should never deal with those groups of politicians who never say anything, never want to put anything on the table. All they want to do is to pull down everything that their colleague politicians put on the table. Not everything a politician will put on the table will work. I understand that, not everything. But let's have politicians who dare to dream. It's better than those who sit back and wait and say that it's not possible. That's horrible. We should never encourage that. We should not even allow them to be politicians, because if you say that you come out of the society and say you are a politician, it means you have been dreaming something that the rest of us have not seen. And the something that you are dreaming can help all of us. If you are allowed to implement the something that you're dreaming about, it can help all of us. But some of these people, they do nothing. All they do is, I want to do free access. Oh, it's not possible. I want to do NHIS. Oh, it's not possible. I want to do dialysis free. Oh, it's not possible. Everything is not possible. I wonder why people engage them. Because if we are a serious society for the youth and we are building a nation, we must find those politicians who dare to dream. They may be in NDC, they may be MPP, they may be CPP, wherever they are. We must pick out those politicians who want to achieve something. They may not be able to achieve what they want to achieve, but they are thinking of achieving something. That's a better person as a politician than one who does nothing. And when he hears that the colleague politician is saying, I'll do something, he just tells the people it's not possible. We should banish them away. These kinds of people. Yusuf Abdul Razak, you should be ashamed of yourself. As for you people, everything is not possible. We should remain where we are as a country. We shouldn't go out. Everything is not possible. Free dialysis is not possible. It's possible in London. It's not possible in Ghana. Why? Free SHS, it was not possible. Free maternal health that Kufuor brought, it's not possible. One district, one factory, it's not possible. One village, one dam, everything is not possible. That is why Dr. Bawumia has chosen it is possible mantra. That's a politician that I respect. A politician who is thinking possibilities. He's thinking that we can achieve it, we can do it. It's not the one who says that, oh, you are lying, you can't do it. He's lying. What are you doing? Nothing. If you ask them, what are they bringing? Nothing. Another person says, I'm bringing this. They say it's not possible. Okay, what are you bringing? Zero. From 2022 up to today. What is the campaign bringing to us from the opposition? A huge zero. What are they saying? Government economy is hard. Vote them out. They said they will do free SHS. When you go to the school, some of them don't even have food. Out of 197 schools, they have fed 198. It's left with one. They haven't fed. That's all they do. What are they saying about themselves? This dialysis thing Dr. Bawumia is talking about, it was lying down for the last 4 months. The opposition health committee should have had a meeting to decide on what is the policy to solve this dialysis problem. Let's put it in our manifesto. Let's tell the Ghanaian people. Maybe they will listen. They will trust us and they will do it. They don't do that. They don't have a meeting and think that what is the solution to the dialysis problem. They don't do that. Dr. Bawumia has been thinking about it. You think he just made an announcement? No, I know. He's been thinking about it. Calling doctors, calling NHIS, calling accountants. If you want to add dialysis, how much money? Where is it going to come from? He's done all the analysis. He knows where the money is going to come from. But he had to sit down and think and do it. You don't just come and say it's not possible. Everything anybody wants to do, these people say it is not possible. What are they doing? Nothing. And they want to be elected on what? On nothing. That's why when they are elected and they come, the lights goes off. Because they didn't have any idea of what they were going to do. They don't have any idea. They just find themselves as politicians. They talk to the people, and some Ghanaians will be happy to hear some things about their opponents that is wrong. Yes, so they always talk to the people, preaching negative against the opponent. What are you going to achieve? They have nothing to say. The Americans were complaining about Kamala Harris, weren't they? They said that she's not defining herself. Yes, she's telling us that Trump is bad, we know that. But what is she going to do? She herself. She couldn't say it. They cautioned her week after week after week after. She couldn't say it. She went into a landslide defeat. Because human beings are serious. And this century, we are serious. You have to tell us as a politician that this is what I'm going to do. It's not enough to say that MPP is bad. MPP is bad. Yes, okay, we hear it. What about you? What are you going to do? Zero. They don't have it. They don't have it. Anyway. I'll leave it here. Then we go on to the Electoral Commission stories. Oh yeah, I love this one. And my producers gave it to me. I gave him 100% for adding this to the documentation today. Noam Chomsky says, if you believe in freedom of speech, you believe in freedom of speech for views you don't like. Nazi propagandist Paul Goebbels was in favor of freedom of speech only for the views that he liked. Joseph Stalin, the Soviet dictator, was in favor of freedom of speech only for what he liked. So if you are in favor of freedom of speech, you are in favor of freedom of speech precisely for the views you despise. What it means is that allow everybody to speak their view. Let everybody speak their view. You can challenge another's view on the basis that it's illogical. It doesn't add up. It's suffering some logical deficit. It's suffering some common sense deficit. You can attack views like that, but you can't say they shouldn't express them. When they express their views, you don't say they are abois. And that's how to respond to analysis. Anyway, it's 15 minutes at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. Let's get to Madam Jane Adukwe-Mensah, because this earlier today, she held a blistering press conference where she was talking about the Electoral Commission processes. Okay, let's see what else she said. This must be Roman Father, who is now disqualified. Oh, that's Alban Bagbin. I'll come to him later. Roman Father has been disqualified from the contest, and so the Ghana Freedom Party is no longer going to be part of it. Now, what was left? How does that leave the notice of poll, the ballot paper? If Ghana Freedom Party is not going to be in, where will all the other parties be? Will they maintain their position? Will their positions change? This is what Jane Adukwe-Mensah told the press earlier today.
We are here to inform you of the Commission's decision to maintain the presidential ballot as it is. As you may be aware, and I believe all of you have representatives in the printing houses, we are almost 90% complete with the printing of presidential ballots. And you are also aware that following the passing of Madam Ekwe-Adonko, we requested the printing houses to cease printing until the law had taken its course. Now that the presidential candidate or the nominee has been disqualified, the Commission would like to inform you that the printing would proceed on the current ballot as is, in the interest of time and to save this country millions of cedis. And so our task here this morning is very simple. We are not here to change positions. We are not here to reballot. We are simply here to inform you that the Commission intends to notify our printing houses to proceed with the presidential ballot as is. It will proceed with the ballot that bears the name and the image of the name of the Ghana Freedom Party, their symbol, and the image of Madam Ekwe-Adonko. And we believe that a lot of discussions and advertisements will go out to prevent the citizenry from voting for her. So this is our mission here this morning. It is a simple one, as I said.
That was Jane Adukwe-Mensah. She also gave us some statistics. They will put it on the screen now. So Ekwe-Adonko, may she rest in peace. She's not competing for the election anymore. But these are the statistics. Okay. Now here we are. So the total number of registered voters, biometric, 18,640,801. That's massive. 18 million people are going to cast the ballot. I don't know whether 18 million will cast the ballot, but the register has 18 million. Total number of special voters who are voting, I believe on December 1, is 131,478. Voters without biometric data, 1,870. Total number of valid voters, 18,774,159. Total number of voters on exceptions list, 33,352. Total number of voters on multiple list, 26,569. Total number of voters on proxy list, 2,141. Total number of transferred votes, 310,579. Total number of absent voters, 441,173. Voters on biometric register refer to voters who will be biometrically verified on election day. Special voter refers to voters who have special duties on election day. Policemen, military, journalists, Electoral Commission officials, they are category 2. Category 3, voters without biometric data refer to voters who are registered but whose biometric data got corrupted for one reason or the other. They will be manually verified on election day. Number 4, the total number of valid votes for 2024 general election is 18,774,159. 18 million voters with biometric data. 131 special voters. 1,870 voters without biometric data. Thus, A plus B plus C is equal to 18,774,159 valid votes. Number 9, total number of absent voters should equal the sum of special voters plus transferred voters. However, a number of polling stations were administratively closed, either because they did not meet the minimum voter threshold required for operation or because local communities requested the commission to close the polling stations for legitimate reasons. Voters from these closed stations were transferred to other polling stations. Since no register was generated for these closed polling stations, no absent voters list was created for them, resulting in 884 voters excluded from the absent voter list. Their records, including details of their movement, are securely maintained within the voters management system, ensuring full accountability. Total absentee voters, 884 voters. So Samuel Tete, the Electoral Commissioner, the Deputy Chairman of Operations at the Electoral Commission, he gave us that word that we are sharing with you right now. So, what does it say over here? 25 days more to go. Check it out. 25 days more to go for John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to slug it out at the polls and determine who would be Donald Trump and who would be Kamala Harris. It's coming up with 25 days to go. I can't wait. On election day, I'll be here. In the morning, then in the afternoon I'll be there. In the night I'll be back here, and we'll go and take a shower, and then we come and sit here. We'll rearrange the tables, as you know, we rearrange it in the studio, and then at 2 a.m. we'll have the first result for you. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's good. I just love election coverage. Okay, all right. A few minutes to 10 o'clock. I have been talking to you about the presidential debate, haven't I? John Mahama started with the debate, and he said that he has 5 questions for Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia responded with 50 questions, didn't he? He did. And I said here that, look, this thing about I have questions for you or you have questions for me, it's not healthy. Let's sit together at the debate. Let's do the debate. John Mahama has said he will not do the debate because Dr. Bawumia is not his level. I'm not sure whether debate is done because somebody is somebody's level. Debate is done because you're presenting yourself for president and you are telling the people that I'm ready for the job. I'm happy to debate anybody about my intentions, about my past, about my present, and about the capacity that I have to deliver to the Ghanaian people a healthy economy, peace, security, proper education, health, etc., etc. Everything that a third world country needs, I, as president, have the capacity to deliver. That's the purpose of the debate. You're coming to tell people that I'm ready for anything. But he says he's not going to do the debate. So I'm just saying that this question that he says Dr. Bawumia should answer, and Dr. Bawumia says that he should answer. The two of them should come together. Let's deal with it, and then we sort it out. I think that's much better. But there's a young lady who has answers for the questions that Dr. Bawumia, that John Mahama asked Dr. Bawumia. Have a look at it.
Former President John Dramani Mahama raised some concerns because I don't see them to be questions, but rather concerns. And the first one is, why is the CD to dollar rate 17 cedis now? The question should be, why was the CD to dollar rate 4 Ghana cedis, but then you couldn't provide common chalk for our schools to teach our students, for our teachers to teach our students? Why was the CD to dollar rate 4 Ghana cedis, but you couldn't continue with the existing nursing training and teacher training college allowances that was already there before you came? Why? Why couldn't you continue with it with the 4 Ghana cedis dollar to CD rate? Why was your regime? Why were we having unemployed association in the country when the CD to dollar rate 4 Ghana cedis? Why were all these things there? Why the CD to dollar rate was 4 Ghana cedis, but you said you cannot implement free senior high school, and that it wasn't even possible for anybody at all on this earth to implement free senior high school in Ghana? Why? Why couldn't you do all this when the CD to dollar rate was 4? Why were you not able to pay government workers their salary when the dollar to CD was 4 Ghana cedis? Why? Because running a country successfully does not solely depend on the CD to dollar rate, but rather good governance, good policies, good implementations of policies These are what matters, and these are what you lack, and these are the reason why we will never vote for you again. Today, the cedi to dollar rate is 17 cedis, but we don't even use chalk in our schools. We use marker pens in our schools and marker boards. Meanwhile, you couldn't even provide chalk when it was 4 cedis. Today, we have restored the nursing training and the teacher training college allowances you cancel. Meanwhile, the cedi to dollar rate is 17 cedis. Today, the MPP government has implemented free senior high school successfully. Meanwhile, the cedi to dollar rate is 17 cedis. Come back again. We are wise now. We, the youth of Ghana, are wise now. No one will go back. DMB is winning these elections, hands down.
I don't know what to say. I have no idea. I don't know how to comment on it. You see, the youth of Ghana are getting very, very, very wise. Because they're watching television, you see, viewers. They're watching television. They are seeing what's happening in other countries. And they are thinking that, why can't this happen in Ghana? This can happen in Ghana. So they are asking critical questions. The results of the election is going to be very revealing. And we're going to use that to check whether the youth of Ghana were asking certain questions or they were not asking certain questions. Eventually, the election will tilt in favor of the youth votes. Whoever gets majority of the youth votes will be elected president. So we are watching to see how the youth are thinking. Are they sinking in with Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia on the left, or are they building up a sankofa for John Dramani Mahama on the right? So all of that coming up. The Supreme Court appears to have done its work. They have done what they want to do and what they need to do. That's our big story for today. It's coming up after the break. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce the social media editors. They're just fixing Fatih's mic. They'll finish in a minute, and then we can go ahead with it. And then they'll give us a few text messages. When we come back, we should be ready for the Supreme Court conversation. Later tonight, Dr. Echesi Kanku has a 13-minute video that is showing us how and why, what are Americans saying, what are ordinary Americans saying about the outcome of the tumultuous election held on 5th November, ending up in a landslide victory for the unlikely winner, for the one that the poll said was not going to win, for the one that the progressive media said he was not going to win, for the one that progressive America said he was not going to win. He won a landslide. Donald J. Trump returns to the White House as the 47th POTUS. Now, back to Ghana. What are people saying? Who shall I start with? Maybe I start with Anziba. Okay, let me start with you, Anziba. What are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Our first message is from Ibrahim Titles Glover. He says, Mr. Paul, please can you please help me ask the Attorney General about Sedinam Tamaku's whereabouts? From Baba Chairman Tamali, he says, the Speaker will be remembered as a tyrant, a vindictive and a very lawless Speaker who presided over a chaotic parliament. Ibn Alidu says, vote number 1. We have Isaac Tete saying, number 1 is winning. From Anabi Isa, he says, the most credible political analysis, Paul the Paul. Mahama is saying, Haja Samira Bawumia is a hard-working lady. I hail her always. Lastly, from Yuri Sosa, he says, best journalist by all standards, your presentation skills and your deeper depth of research for your show is top-notch. God bless you, Mr. Paul. Over to you, Fatih.
Okay, so from Andy King, Mr. Paul, please hold your breath. We don't expect anything meaningful from NDC and their gullible supporters. They've all reached the limit of their knowledge, and therefore they can't see the possibilities out of difficult situations. Once it's coming from their opponent, it's not possible. That is the unfortunate opposition we have in our country. From Shadrach Mbelam, Sir Paul, no need. The left wing are late. They don't believe in the future possibilities. It's possible, number 1. From Junior Akbar Tamale, in fact, Ghana needs a visionary leader. Dr. Bawumia will be the best president of the Republic of Ghana. Now, Charles Nana Entry Bosiako says, watching you live from Columbus, Ohio. You're my favorite journalist. I can't wait to have dinner with you one day. Okay, so over to you, Fatih.
From Safiano Adams from Pusiga. He says the Speaker cannot approbate and reprobate. Believing in the Constitution but not the Supreme Court amounts to double standard and amateur pedestrian politicking. The same supremacy of the Constitution enjoins you to respect the authority of the Supreme Court. Ishmael says the NDC has nothing to offer Ghanaians, so it is indeed possible. Kingsley says, I like your suit tonight. You look very sharp. General E.L. Komanasa says, if someone will challenge or seek interpretation on the decision of the EC about image of Madam Ekiadonko, that same person should do it early before someone loses the election and go to court on the issue of Madam Ekiadonko's image on the ballot. We won't entertain that after the election. William Danche says, what Babin did with the NDC parliamentary jokers is a failed constitution coup and nothing else, but their political backers and the hypocritical journalists, lawyers, and so-called professionals and media houses led by Joy FM will be at their propaganda best to defend it. Alhaji Bob Sidi says, fellow Ghanaians, let's come out in our numbers and vote massively for Dr. Baumia. Assalamu alaikum, Paul, and inshallah Dr. Baumia will be the next president after 7th December. Greetings to Vincent Echo. Now, coming from Ayarig Bananas, who says, watching live from Bosa South constituency on my campaign grounds, which is very fertile for DMB. Charles is watching from Ketu North constituency. What do you have for us?
Okay, so from King Sape, he says, Ghana is the winner and nobody is above the law. Ghana has spoken. From El Mustafa, he says, I will be going to work tomorrow, but I can't miss anything for Good Evening Ghana. From someone called Bente Longi, he says, Afenyo Markins and the MPP should ask the Supreme Court to come and reconvene Parliament for them. Maxwell Naughty is saying, we need discipline from the MPs in the next sitting. Lastly, from Nana Usu, he says, small boy Danger Dame has shown backbone in the NDC MPs their smoothness level. Kobe, what do you have for us?
All right, so General L. Coleman said, if someone will challenge or seek interpretation on the decision of the EC about the image of Madam Ekiadonko, that person should do it early before someone else loses the election and go to court on the issue of Madam Ekiadonko's image on the ballot. We won't entertain that after the election. Now, Ifo Pega says Lordina has seized her campaign efforts for Mahama, recognizing that he is likely to face a significant defeat. Now, Abubakari Jalil Kingjini, he says, I think that seeking to remain in Parliament as an independent simply indicates that the member belongs to a party, and due to a misunderstanding with the party, they now seek to stay in Parliament independently. If my thinking is correct, then the judgment is justified. In the case of Professor Wayo Seni of Tamale Central, we wanted to move from the NDC to join the NPP in Parliament. However, he could not make that decision on behalf of the constituency. Now, over to you.
Yes. Come back to me. Come back to me. You remember that song? NDC is like, okay, so we're going to take a break now, yeah, and we have the Supreme Court analysis. Don't go nowhere. But we're just going to remind you of voting night. That's my best night as a news reporter. Voting night, the election night. In fact, from the morning, that's my best. That's my best. Okay, 2000 was really my most beautiful election coverage, because on that morning I had the opportunity, the rare opportunity, to go into the voting booth with the incumbent president, J.J. Rawlings. As he was voting, I was standing by him, and then he took his paper, he went into the booth, he put it in the box, he came back and I asked him, who did you vote for? He said, that's my secret. But he didn't know that all that conversation was live on Joy FM's morning show. So that was my best example of election reporting in 2000. How many years ago that is? 24. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that. Children who were born on that day are 24 years old. Some of them are married already. 24, they're married, especially the women, they're married. They were born on that day when I was doing the news reporting. It seems like yesterday. It feels like yesterday, but they're 24 years old. They've had wedding. Okay. Ashanti region is going to be a big stake in this election, and we are here to help you to understand the results that you get on voting night. As the results are coming, what would it mean to the NDC and the MPP and the CPP, but especially to the NDC and the MPP? What will the results mean to the NDC? So we take you back to 2008 and show you what results mean. In 2008, in round one, which is the point of our analysis, the New Patriotic Party, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo at the time, secured 72.4% of the votes in Ashanti. Altogether, they got 1,214,350,000. National Democratic Congress, the eventual winners of the 2008 election, secured 438,234,000, representing 26.1%. The difference was 776,116. That was 2008. Check out 2012. 2008 election was won in the first round by Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He could not make the threshold of 50% plus one, and therefore the election went into a second round and the NDC eventually won it. In 2012, the NDC, led by the then vice president who had become the candidate of the party as a result of the unfortunate demise of President J.E.A. Mills, John Dramani Mahama, represented the NDC on the ticket. And here in 2012, the MPP pulled 1,531,152,000, representing 70.8%, less than 72% that was pulled in 2008. The NDC got, guess what, 28.3% in Ashanti region, up from 26%, up from 438,000 now to 612,616. The difference is 908, and the NPP lost that election. The NDC won it. 2016, an election won by the NPP. Votes garnered in the stronghold of Ashanti, one of the most important decision-making points for the election. The NPP secured 1,640,694, representing 76%, up from 70% in 2012, now 76%. MPP down from 28% in 2012, now 23%, getting 503,497. The critical thing is this last line. I want you to keep an eye on this, viewers. The last line, the column of the difference. So the difference in 2016 was 1,137,197. That's the difference between NDC and MPP. 2020, another election won by the New Patriotic Party, still led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The results were as follows. In Ashanti, Akufo-Addo pulled 1,795,824. The NDC's John Dramani Mahama now getting to 26%, repeating the performance of 2008. John Mahama comes on 26% with 653,149. And then the difference in favor of the MPP is 1,142,675. So this is where there's a starting point. On election night, viewers, if the results are coming, you just take the results and put it in one of these scenarios. If the results is looking like the 2008 scenario, you can say that the night is beginning to shape up well for the NDC. If the results looks like the 2012 scenario, you can still say that. If the results look like the 2016 scenario, you can begin to get worried for the opposition NDC when the night is still very early. And we will be here to tell you very early in the night, by sometime 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. the next morning, we'll be able to report Ashanti figures, and then you can deal with it. In 2020, you also look at these figures and you can put it in. So the important thing to notice is that what is the deficit? By the time the Ashanti region have finished their presidential results, we are looking for the deficit. If the deficit is below 1 million, you know that the NDC is doing well relative to performance in other places. We're going to have a critical surgical approach to look at what is likely to happen in the northern region. Our predictive senses are going to be wide up to guess what's going to happen in the northern region in this election. But we start from here. So if on election night, the MPP have not been able to carry Ashanti by more than 1 million deficit between they and the NDC, then the MPP are struggling on election night. But if the results are coming in and it's beginning to look like 2016 or 2020, then you know that the MPP are doing well. All of that is up for grabs here on Good Evening Ghana. You can see anything. When we come back from the break, we'll put up Greater Accra region as well and show you what the dynamics have been in Greater Accra region. Again, since 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020. We are not going as far back because we think that from 2008 gives us enough data to be able to churn out a certain pattern. The pattern emerges. If you use 2008, 12, 16, and 20, you can have a pattern, isn't it? So we're going to start from 8 and come all the way to 20. Greater Accra is next. And then we have the full analysis of the Supreme Court. This is Good Evening Ghana is live. We have a 30-minute video also to show you why ordinary Americans think that Donald Trump won the election. That's coming up after the break. Greater Accra, then Supreme Court, then America. All of it on Good Evening Ghana and is live.
Fire pomudin ya gubi. Ghana funi aji. If you say ya your local spices na ya fra dia ya sanko for natural spice.
Me de go me jollof mu. Me me still ahuduma. Emanate dance.
Stanley, the barbecue they go on.
Sanko for natural spices. And one you use 100% natural. Said the yepen.
Adofo, mamu nye huge mistake. Sanko for natural spices.
Experience the enhanced protection of Star Motor Third Party Extra from Star Assurance, an enhanced motor third party insurance policy that provides cover for loss or damage to your vehicle's windscreens, side mirrors, back glass, and other glass components. Whether it's a crack or major damage, you can drive with the assurance that your vehicle is well protected. Our commitment to you includes affordable coverage options and a claims process that is both fast and straightforward, so you spend less time dealing with paperwork and more time on the road. Also, we have proudly partnered with Hope for Little Lives, an organization dedicated to supporting children in need. By choosing Star Motor Third Party Extra, you're protecting your vehicle and making a positive impact. Every policy you buy helps bring joy and support to children in underserved communities. Reach out to us now on our toll-free numbers 0800-177-177 or 0302-245-906 to sign up. Let us help you drive with peace of mind and purpose. Star Motor Third Party Extra. Drive with confidence, give back with heart.
Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Welcome. Please look into the camera for verification. Thank you, John. You are now verified. Please select your preferred candidate. New candidate. Profile being verified. Please choose another. New candidate. Profile not ready. Please choose another. To see development options for this candidate, press yes or cancel. Will cancel free SHS. Will cancel LEAP. Will cancel health insurance. Will bring back Doomsaw. Should I continue? Press yes or cancel. Please choose another. Development options. Will improve free SHS. Free healthcare. Flat rate scheme for importers. Jobs for the youth. Affordable public transport with electric buses. Generally, a great choice. The only choice really. Thank you for voting number 1.
Assure. Vote number 1 on the ballot.
One choice, multiple styles. All big, all unique. all our believers.
To the Niger Gunners of Club Road,
all you Artetas of Africa, of Accra,
of Maputo,
of Oimbo,
the legends of legends down Lusaka way. We hear you.
Now hear us. Obrigado. Galo.
Betway, the official global betting partner of Arsenal.
The luckiest.
Star 712#.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get a package on your book, man. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man.
Good luck. We'll wait here. We have star 712. It's much more phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Let's
choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
No, maybe straight to option 4. Now we try. You need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Dr. Baumian once said,
the economy is going to grow and grow and grow, and we will have jobs and jobs and jobs. This is the economy of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
The unemployment rate, which stood at just 8% in 2016, has hit an all-time high of 15%. The latest 2024 Afrobarometer indicates that unemployment is the biggest problem facing the nation. You trust this liar at your own peril. Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bready poor mattress anymore? Don't some slippers then follow me. It is part of the mattress we did the front there. Yeah? That'll be the mattress where the dead for. Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like ash foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
One choice, multiple styles. All big, all unique.
John, mema wakwaba.
Yeah, so.
Alaji, mema wakwaba.
Yeah.
John, I had a bro, one on them.
I really am a gun and Tina Menamo, and some break a crane bijano. Don't know anything about Masaba.
Alaji, I had a bro.
Yo, Medasi. Mwamonim, Tamana, Amawa, which you Miana Name Bobo and a Kakra. As I said, dear, my crowd said, me person me be warino. Namiko CSL. Name man sign Jan and Nasubium, no your crabeshe.
Yo, I was not for, yes, Empire. Yo, I'm a Ghana. What's wrong?
Mean to me, ain't son cheap. Your bread baby, I would make fair way. I'm an who. Baby. Mean to me, beauty. Forward ever, backwards. Never.
John, Okwanya would me very fast. I would say, a come, do so. Trap me none and me. Yeah, 3 years such as Yabaya. Come on, your school uncle. And I say, yeah, on my essay.
I say, my sister, be sure, boy. Sahu machi, 2 o'clock. Meko band, the Makwa Iska, ɛde abra magana na mabɔ ne dwetire ama na starting kokon ketenkete
Akunta, you are still incompetent.
2% osade mame abrabo eto chacha to say aviator there be emaso.
Alhaji has also promised us jobs through digitalization. Ejimambe Bushi say
Alhaji dear metene so a ne masore emiri bia meka ne abesa no otimi to kanea light e woni phone so e ma me ba bia wonam bia yo amagana enya me me ware ama wo Alhaji ni Jones ni wa chusu
no ababa say eye Alhaji number 1
Alhaji number one
Esuro Using Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture, brought to you by Koa Research and Manufacturing Limited Company, proudly made in Ghana, formulated to support your general well-being. For those seeking immune system support, there is Koa Plus Mixture. Support your body's defenses and stay strong. When it comes to combating malaria, Koa MT Mixture will aid your treatments. For effective relief from malaria symptoms, try Koa MT Mixture. Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture are not recommended for pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children under 12 years. Always take a malaria test before using Koa MT Mixture. Choose Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture for your health needs. Available now at pharmacies nationwide. For bulk purchases, contact 0244 726611 or 0591 565 778. This advert is
anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Machasi.
It's her smile. The fresh breath.
Me Jidi say we use Kel 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Kel 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Kel 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasa. Kile Hossein. Kel 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling kika when you know Kel 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Kel 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you can get 8K. Get that packing so you have to one line. Hey, wait.
You go put it on his tab. This is my man.
Good luck. We'll be ready. We have star 712. It's put your phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. Aha, and now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let me choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
No, maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
So good, miss.
Hey, there we are. Tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. T&Cs apply.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia number 1 on the ballot.
You the answer to my prayer. You with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
Apomode hu nsem yemfen diagro. Enunti na se wonom edopapa nko a. Exodus moringa capsules and Exodus dandelion capsules. Efi Exodus elusuyanum na ebeboa wapomode. Emu bia wo benya no betimi aboa. Nanso se woyi to no a wo betimi andom abom na ebeboa papa. Se wonom Exodus moringa capsules na Exodus dandelion capsules. Eboa mamoja di efusani yie. Na afei ebusi wo immune system no na akwati ayarewa ahodo. Menim yie se nipa dodo na nim dia moringa etimi ye. Na dandelion so ye nim. Enu nti ne nkasa bebre. Enye mma apemfo. Ana abatan a oma enifo. Ana abofra a onya emfidumi. Exodus ehu adansi die dos.
Welcome. Please look into the camera for verification. Thank you, John. You are now verified. Please select your preferred candidate. New candidate. Profile being verified. Please choose another. New candidate. Profile not ready. Please choose another. To see development options for this candidate, press yes or cancel. Will cancel free SHS. Will cancel LEAP. Will cancel health insurance. Will bring back Doomsaw. Should I continue? Press yes or cancel. Please choose another. Development options. Will improve free SHS, free healthcare, flat rate scheme for importers, jobs for the youth, affordable public transport with electric buses. Generally, a great choice. The only choice really. Thank you for voting number 1.
Vote number 1 on the ballot.
Fire pomudi ni agubi Ghana fueni age efi say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice me de go me jollof mu ni me still ahodoma e ma ne dance
Stanley, the barbecue the go on.
sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural said the happen no
Adofo mamunye huge mistake sankofa natural spices the
FDIG ejedi nkratu yatu.
How far with your intention?
To be honest, I'm so nervous about starting this new role on Monday.
Oh please, I know you'll be great at it. You should be worried about what benefits they have. Example, do they have health insurance?
I doubt they will have that for internet. But no shaking. I have NHIS already.
Actually, I'm on a line.
Ina, look at you. What are you going to do in the office when you can just download the app to register for an NHIS membership?
Yes, my people. You heard right. You can now download and register your membership on my NHIS app. No long queues or tedious paperwork. All you need is your Ghana card to register for yourself and for others. Once you register, you get a new digital NHIS card on your phone. My NHIS app gives you access to credentialed health facilities and services across the country. NHIS covers over 95% of disease conditions in Ghana. Access to healthcare just got easier.
Now let me sign up quickly. Please, Seth, I'm starting work next month.
Dr. Baumian once said,
"But if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you."
Dr. Baumian, when your fundamentals are weak, your exchange rate will expose you. That time now $1 to 4 cedis. And today, 11.5. The rate of depreciation. What are we going to say? $, India, a Turkish near Medinica, Ewo, Dosa or the Bremi. And me money deposit. Not dollar, no. 6 cedis to $1. In August 2022, over $100,000. I have the evidence. Between 1,550,000 Ghana cedis, meaning the dollar was 15 cedis 50 pesos. Where were the strategies?
The dollar, which was selling at 4.2 Ghana cedis in 2016, is today selling at about 17 Ghana cedis. Prices keep rising, businesses are collapsing, yet the so-called economic messiah is dead silent and totally clueless about how to fix it. Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
By court. In a majority decision of 5-2, Lovelace Johnson JSC and Amadou Tanko JSC dissenting on the issue of jurisdiction, the plaintiff's action succeeds. The full reasons and orders of the court shall be filed with the registrar by close of day tomorrow, 13th November 2024. This is the judgment of the court.
Most grateful.
By court. In a majority decision of 5-2, Lovelace Johnson JSC and Amadou Tanko JSC dissenting on the issue of jurisdiction, the plaintiff's action succeeds. The full reasons and orders of the court shall be filed with the registrar by close of day tomorrow, 13th November 2024. This is the judgment of the court.
Most grateful.
All right, now let's get to the analysis that what many of our viewers have been waiting for is here. So the Supreme Court ruled today that the 5-2 majority decision, the application of Afenyo Makin has been sustained, alleging that the Speaker has no capacity to pronounce on those seats. I think at the outset we have to explain something. There are two ways in which a person can leave Parliament. There are two ways in which a person automatically vacates his seat according to the Constitution. Now, the person can leave the party that he's in without it being about elections of the next Parliament. So we have to understand that. So if today the NDC writes to Alban Bagbin, the Speaker, that Haruna Idrisu is no longer a member of the NDC, immediately that has triggered a by-election. If there's no by-election, 6 months to election, there's no by-election, then there will be no by-election, but Idrisu Haruna will be asked to leave the Parliament. It has nothing to do with the election. I think we are confusing the thing. So the interpretation is being given that once a person says, I'm contesting on the ticket of independent, or I'm joining another party as independent for the next election, then we're assuming that he loses his seat. But the constitutional clause says that if the person is doing so, as in changing his political party, but seeks to remain in Parliament on another political party different from the one with which he came to Parliament, that's where the problem is. So there are two ways of people leaving Parliament. One, that your relationship with the political party has gone south and the party has sacked you. You leave Parliament. It doesn't have to be election. So I think we should get that clear. It's not so much that I'm filing and that is where the issue arises. No, it can arise on day 1 of Parliament. It can arise on day 2 of Parliament. If after the 2021 brawl in Parliament, the NDC decided that Javier Sosu has been seen in the video as slapping somebody, we are not proud of him, we've sacked him from our party. Immediately, Javier Sosu leaves Parliament. It doesn't have to do with any election. I think at the outset, you have to make that clear. There are two ways in which people can leave Parliament. Well, several ways. One of the ways is that your political party writes to the Speaker to say that you have been fired from the party. You can go to court and challenge that you can be a member of the party. That will be difficult because it's freedom of association. And it's the party that decides whether you should be part of them or not. And according to their rules, you can go to court and say the rules were not interpreted correctly. That's entirely up to you. But that's one way in which the seat can be vacant under Article 99 when the party has sacked you. The other one is when you seek to leave the party and then you want to join another party in the same Parliament. That's what the law says. You are leaving the NDC. You want to join the MPP in the 8th parliament. You are leaving the MPP. You want to join the NDC in the 7th parliament. In the same parliament that you came in as NDC, 7th, 8th, 6th, 4, we named the parliament. In that same parliament, you want to change to another party and remain in the same parliament. That one is what the constitution says that you cannot do that. If you do that, your seat is automatically vacant. It is this rule that the speaker interpreted that because the people have came into parliament as MPP or NDC, now they say they want to be independent. When did they say they want to be independent? They haven't said they want to be independent. Technically, that's what is correct. They have not said they want to be independent. They continue to sit where they sit as NDC or MPP. They have not said that they want to be independent and remain in the same parliament. That's the catch phrase, remain in the parliament. I thought that was quite simple, and I think it's not very complicated. They want to remain in the same 7th parliament that elected them on the ticket of MPP. They want to remain in the same 7th parliament. Now they want to be NDC. That's what the constitution is prohibiting. That's what is prohibiting. It's not prohibiting a person who is sitting in the 7th parliament and is saying that when I come to the 8th parliament, I think I want to join NDC. This is my people that I'm not sure. I have to join NDC. I'm going back to tell my constituents that I'm not running for parliament on MPP ticket again. I'm running on NDC in the next parliament. But as far as this parliament is concerned, I remain in the NDC. I'm sitting by Muntaka. I don't want to move. I'm here. But in the next parliament, I want to go to the MPP. Now, the processes for the next parliament begins before the expiration of this parliament. So if I go and file something in Electoral Commission, it is evincing an intention about the parliament yet to be. You are evincing an intention about the parliament yet to be. How can anybody interpret that as leaving your party and seeking to remain in the same parliament? I don't understand this. Unless such people want to do propaganda. Michael Quay, and I'm presenting this as a defense for Michael Quay. Michael Quay received a letter from the New Patriotic Party. Says that we have sacked this person from the party. Irrespective of what the matter is, the party says they've sacked him and therefore he has to leave parliament. That has nothing to do with the remain. A party has sacked you from their party. It has nothing to do with you are remaining in parliament. You are automatically gone if the party whose tickets you went there with say that they have sacked you for whatever reason. Okay. The other thing is that if you want to leave your party and join another party, you cannot do that in the same parliament. Okay, let me just read that. A member of parliament shall vacate his seat in parliament if he leaves the party of which he was member at the time of his election to parliament to join another party or seeks to remain in parliament as an independent candidate. To remain, to join another party or become independent and remain. That's the critical operative word, remain. So you come into Parliament 7 as blue, you want to change whilst Parliament 7 is still on as red. And the Constitution prohibits that. Okay, let's get into the details. So, timer, this ends 1, please, very important. It's 5 minutes, it ends it. All right. Article 99. The High Court shall have jurisdiction to hear and determine any question whether a person has been validly elected as a member of parliament or the seat of a member of parliament has become vacant. The High Court shall have jurisdiction. Again, very, very important. It did not say that the High Court shall have exclusive jurisdiction. It did not say. Other parts of the Constitution, and producer, if you can find any article that shows exclusive jurisdiction, let me have it. It says the High Court shall have jurisdiction. It didn't say exclusive jurisdiction because the Supreme Court is the author of interpretation of the Constitution. Any matter at all can take the form of a constitutional interpretation. The lawyers will tell you that. A matter can start as a land matter. Paul Adomotri versus John Dramani Mahama. We are fighting over Abobloshi land. It can become a constitutional matter. If in the fight over Abobloshi land, Paul Adomotri raises an issue that John Dramani Mahama, having been commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces before, under the Constitution, is not entitled to file a writ against me in the High Court. I have raised the constitutional matter for the Supreme Court to make the determination. And the Constitution says that the Supreme Court has exclusive jurisdiction in the interpretation of the constitutional provisions in 1992's document. They have the exclusive jurisdiction. So constitutional matters can be raised and find itself raised in any matter. It can come from anywhere. But in constitutional matters, the apex court, the Supreme Court, has exclusive jurisdiction. That's what it is. The High Court here has jurisdiction, but it's not exclusive. So the conversation I was telling you about today, apparently when the judges went into the court, they went into conclave to make a decision, to share their decision. So they were arguing, I won't tell you who, because if I say that, you sort of get it. I mean, I won't even tell you the agenda. If I say it, you get it. So one person who is voting for the dissenting asked the person voting for majority that where? We say we are going for the majority. We are interpreting. The speaker can't do that. Then the other one said, I agree with you, but this is a matter for the High Court. And therefore, when Afenyo Makin brought his application, this opinion suggests that when Afenyo Makin brought his application, the Supreme Court should have declined original jurisdiction and revert to the High Court for the jurisdiction. Let the High Court make a decision. If the applicant or the respondent are unhappy with the decision of the High Court, then they will file an application to the Supreme Court, an interlocutory application to the Supreme Court for a determination of the constitutional issues. This was the view, and I believe it may be the view of the two, but we have to wait for tomorrow and see what the views really are. But we are suggesting here. Now it's okay. But this is a matter of critical issues. First of all, the time is important. 3 weeks to election. Second of all, Article 2. Producer, give me Article 2. Article 2 directs the Supreme Court to accept jurisdiction when matters of constitutional interpretation have been raised in a writ. That is the Supreme Court's fundamental obligation. That when matters of constitutional interpretation have been raised in a writ, the Supreme Court ought to accept the jurisdiction. Here it is. Original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. 1. Subject to the jurisdiction of the High Court in the enforcement of the fundamental human rights and freedoms provided for in Article 33 of this Constitution, the Supreme Court shall have exclusive, original jurisdiction in all matters relating to the enforcement or interpretation of this Constitution, and all matters arising as to whether an enactment was made in excess of the powers conferred on Parliament or on any other authority in person by law or under the Constitution. Why did the framers of the Constitution put Parliament's name here? And those who are talking about separation of powers and they say they don't understand it. Why did the framers of the Constitution put Parliament here? Let's read it again. Subject to the jurisdiction of the High Court in the enforcement of the fundamental human rights and freedoms as provided in Article 33 of this Constitution, the Supreme Court shall have exclusive, original jurisdiction in all matters relating to the enforcement or interpretation of this Constitution, and in all matters arising as to whether an enactment was made in excess of the powers conferred on Parliament. So the framers of the Constitution had supposed that there would be friction and Parliament would do certain things that will require the interpretation of the Supreme Court, and they put it right there in Article 130. What are they talking about? What is anybody talking about? This is so clear and so obvious. Why are some people in Ghana creating a fetish about something that is straightforward? It is straightforward. Why are people creating some fetish about it? I see cartoons where they put a king's crown on Bagby's head and he's walking like this. And I don't know what that cartoon means. But this is the problem that I have. As a news reporter, we have to develop a republic where things are straightforward. And we have to have fidelity to the text. This is the 1992 Constitution. The lawyers who are pretending that they don't understand it, they are pretending they don't understand it. What is difficult to understand about this? Article 130. It says that the High Court shall have exclusive jurisdiction in matters of human rights, subject to that, except that. Take that away. Everything else, all matters relating to the enforcement, interpretation of this Constitution is the Supreme Court. So in this conversation I was telling you, the other person said that, but our original jurisdiction has been invoked. What are you talking about that we should decline jurisdiction? We cannot decline jurisdiction. This is the conversation. And tomorrow we'll see what the reasons are to know whether our guess was right or wrong. But now we have a 5-2 decision. And this is the matter. So the people who voted for the 5, I guess, thought that the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction has been invoked. Can the Speaker do this, that? The answer is no. The Speaker cannot do this, that, and that. The answer is no. Why should we go to the High Court for the High Court to tell us? When the Supreme Court has the power so to do. The Supreme Court has the power to do that. Why must the High Court tell us? What's the point? I don't get it. Article 130, all of you young students, read it. Take your constitution. Those who have the miniature yellow one, take it. Look at Article 130. It's there. It is entitled the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. That's the title, original jurisdiction. It shall have the original jurisdiction in all matters. So how can any Supreme Court judge decline jurisdiction when the original jurisdiction of the court has been invoked under Article 2? I don't get it. Justice Pegan used to talk about this all the time. He was a personal friend of mine. I used to go to his house at Ridge. I think he's still alive. He doesn't live there anymore. But at Ridge, near the passport office, I'll go to Pegan. I'll leave Makola, drive to Pegan's house, climb upstairs, sit with him till when I don't have good evening. And I sit with him throughout the night. And I've been talking. Justice Pegan, at that time, he was past 80. He was talking to me about law. And one of his passions was the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, that when it is invoked, the Supreme Court must deal with it. A person who alleges that an enactment or anything done, contained or done under the authority of that or any other enactment or any act or omission of any person is inconsistent with or is in contravention of a provision of this Constitution may bring an action in the Supreme Court for a declaration to that effect. Article 1B. If a person feels that anybody has done anything in contravention of, in excess of his power, etc., etc., that person can bring an action to the Supreme Court for a declaration to that effect. How can the Supreme Court, when this jurisdiction is invoked, then say that I don't have jurisdiction, it should revert to the High Court? The only matter under the Constitution where the Supreme Court would have to revert to the High Court clearly is provided for in Article 131, says, subject to the jurisdiction of the High Court in the enforcement of the fundamental human rights. So if I'm suing on fundamental human rights, Article 33, the Constitution requires me to go to the High Court. There, the High Court has been given a sort of exclusive jurisdiction. Any other matter, it says that all matters relating to the enforcement and interpretation of the Constitution, including the powers conferred on Parliament. Separation of powers. It was a book written by Montesquieu, 1778. It's called Esprit le Loi. And in separation of powers, Montesquieu is not talking about separation of powers so that the powers don't talk to each other. I mean, once you read separation of powers, you will come to the conclusion that there's no separation of powers. Political scientists, do you agree with me? Once you read the theory of separation of powers, you will actually come to the conclusion that there's no separation of powers. Because Montesquieu then whines in his theory and comes back to say that he is not suggesting that there should be, there's a word he uses, watertight separation. That's the expression Montesquieu uses. That he's not talking about a watertight separation. He is talking about a way in which they can collaborate. And he cites the American Constitution as one of the best ways in which you have separation of powers, checks and balances. He talks about the separation of powers under the American Constitution, implemented in how the parliament votes at a different time from the president. Americans elect their parliament at a different time from the president. So, however, that during the time of the presidential election, 1/3 of Senate is up for election. So Montesquieu then comes back and says that, yes, they don't even vote the same time. But you see, when they are voting the president, they vote some of the MPs. And that the president is the executive, the judiciary is the judiciary, but the president will nominate the Supreme Court judges. After he has nominated them, the Supreme Court judges will have to go to Parliament. So the Supreme Court judges in America, they are nominated by the executive, they go to Parliament for the authority, and they come and sit as a third arm of government. So Montesquieu then comes with all of these analyses that suggest that once he says separation of powers, there's actually no separation. May he rest in peace. It's called Baron de Montesquieu. Baron de Montesquieu. We took it as nicknames for many people when we read the theory. He's a very, very brilliant guy. And you are 21 years old, you read Esprit le Loi, you feel like you're on top of the world. I mean, you feel like you're going to be some great legislator, or you're going to be some great politician, because you read it and you see that you have learned something. Thank you, Montesquieu, for sharing this with the world. That's separation of powers. That's it. There's no separation. You say separation of powers and you come around to it. Kweku Azar says things, some of the things he says that are funny, but on this particular matter, I think I agree with him. He says Dr. William Akoto, MP for New Abrim, 2021 to 2024, did not vacate his seat when he ran as an independent for the 2024 election. Now, Kweku Azar has gone into history to tell us that the Speaker's decision is wrong, and that there has been many a precedent in Parliament where the people have indicated in the next Parliament, in the Parliament to be, that they will not be the same place they were in the Parliament that now is, and they didn't leave the Parliament. So he lists all of these. William Akoto is one. Joe Wise, he says, my friend and V-mate, but Kweku Azar is younger than Joe Wise by far. I don't know how he's his mate, but anyway, he didn't say his mate, he says his friend and V-mate. Independent in 2008, did not vacate his seat, even though he caucused with the MPP and ran as an MPP candidate in 2012. You remember in 2008, Joe Wise, who is currently the first deputy speaker, and which is a great example. Joe Wise is in the chair as first deputy speaker. Has the Parliament forgotten? Alban Bagbin, the right honorable speaker, was in Parliament when this Joe Wise thing happened. Has he forgotten? Joe Wise in 2008 was unhappy that he did not win the primaries in one of the Ashanti region constituencies. He decided to run as independent. He won. He came to Parliament as an independent candidate, sat with the MPP. Then before the end of the 2008 Parliament, he filed as an MPP member for the 2012 election. He remained in Parliament. There was no problem with it. That's the precedent. Bagbin was in the chamber at the time as one of the important MPs. That's the precedent. I don't know whether he referred to this in his ruling. I don't know what Mr. Bagbin referred to in his ruling. But obviously, this was precedent that he really should have looked at. Anyway, and then he talks about another one. Who is he talking about again? He said he did not vacate his seat, even though he caucused with the MPP and ran as an independent candidate in 2012. In other words, he served as an independent candidate MP from 2009 to 2012, but ran as an MPP candidate in 2012 without vacating his seats as an independent. Okay, he goes on. There is another name. Tenyano, NDC MP for Lower Minor Krobo, 2008, did not vacate his seat when he ran as an independent for 2012. So Tenyano was in NDC 2008. Before 2008 could end, he filed for the next Parliament, filed as an independent. He didn't leave. Others in this category include one of the first independent MPs of the Fourth Republic, Gladys Nsoa Kintampo, who sought re-election in 1996 on the NDC ticket. Nanaya Ofori Kuragu, the incumbent MP for Bosomwe Frehon, who contested and lost in the MPP primary. Sete J. Ban, I don't know why he left out Hawa Yakubu. I say, is he going to show up? Rashid Bawa, independent for Akan. Then the next time he came as MPP. He forgets Hawa Yakubu, but Hawa Yakubu is a good example as well. Those of us who know Hawa Yakubu Ogede, our great mother and auntie, she also was an independent member of parliament in 1996. In 2000, she came as an MPP member for Boku Central, and she didn't leave the parliament. So all of this precedence was available for Speaker Bagbin. I'm not sure what happened. Let's get to the video of Professor Echesika Anku at the stage. Now that we have 6 minutes to the top of the hour 11, it will run for 13 minutes, and then we'll come back, take text messages, and we'll be wrapping up tonight on the show. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't blast me too much on social media, because sometimes these legal matters, they kind of make you, they IQ a little bit. That thing is so straightforward, it's so simple, and then some people are playing royalty with it. Okay, this is H's account of Americans voting for Trump.
Donald Trump has been elected as President of the United States once again. There's a lot of discourse and discussion around this. One of the main things people are asking is, why did he win? Why did people vote for him? How did he win? The questions about young people. How did he perform so well among different demographic groups, among men, among young people, among older women, older people, and across board, you know, and he had the support. We spoke to some Republicans, some conservatives, at different conservative events. There were some who attended the CPAC, the biggest conservative meeting. We spoke to some college students as well, to get some insights. Across board, there were many things that were important to them, but the major things that came up was jobs, was the economy, the rising food prices was a major concern as well. we had an interview with one Trump supporter, a very, very passionate lady, and she gave us more insights into why you should vote for Trump.
100% I'm for Trump, and probably will be our next president.
What do you believe in him?
We're going to make sure he gets in because he has a job to finish. He came in with a mission to clean the swamp, and he's going to finish it this time.
To clean the swamp. All right. What are some of the things that you like about that?
So he is a strong leader. He's not going to tolerate anyone invading our borders. He's not going to tolerate anyone coming against America. He does put America first. He cares about the people here. And he wants the best for our country, and that means bringing oil and gas back into our economy and getting rid of this whole idea of the Green New Deal.
So you don't believe in climate change or any of this kind of green?
The climate's changing all right because it's being manipulated, and the Democrats and globalists are changing it. So we need to forget what they're saying about the water levels rising and go back to our original oil and gas. That way we can be economically stable. We don't have to rely on other countries for our inhibits.
So it means, so you don't think humans are manipulating the Democrats who are manipulating the environment?
Well, humans are doing it, of course, but we're not going to change the environment and wreck ourselves. We have other options. We don't have to go into the environment.
Okay, I get it. Are you concerned about this rhetoric? When people say, his rhetoric, his slang? What about that?
Even other Americans speak. I mean, they all speak like that. All men in the United States speak like that. We're worse. I'm not worried about it at all. And people think his tweets are mean, but he's just saying the truth. I mean, it might be mean, but it's true.
Wow, it might be mean, but it's the truth. We also spoke to an African American interviewee, a source, who also told us a bit about why he turned conservative and why he supports Donald Trump.
Most people here too. I guess it was a process, but over time I sort of the Democratic Party really wasn't part of my philosophy. More embrace the Republican Party and probably call conservative values.
So what about those values?
I believe that you can have government, but only limited constitutional size. Limited from different things. Federal government should be involved in education and healthcare. I believe that the protocol of the Constitution is I think immigration is fine, but it's a policy that takes into consideration the needs of the people of the United States. So, we have too many farmers. The United States may have more farmers. We need more nurses that have more babies. And maybe in some years the immigration should be zero. Depending on what the need is. We don't do that. Basically, we've always had immigration. Therefore, we make it happen. One immigrant country is a lot of reasons. Why would we do this? So immigration is the biggest.
Right. Right. You don't support the thought. No, of course. But that's how a lot of people get into this conversation.
No, I understand that. And they benefit from coming here. The question is, does it benefit people already here? So, you can apply to come here. And you have certain skills. You want to make tapes, you make furniture, you're a doctor, you're a medical doctor, there's people's brains that again, it should be immigration policy should benefit people already. So that's immigration, doing things about debt reduction, Republican Party, Democratic Party will vote bad on spending, trying to reduce debt, but they say something right.
There's been questions about why young people who the thinking was that they are more liberal, but quite a number of young people supporting Donald Trump. We spoke to some college students to find this out. I was privileged to be at a college Republicans meeting or event at the University of Maryland. It was a very typical meeting of theirs. They had a speaker who came in to speak who touched on a number of issues.
We can feel nothing but shame at how we live today. With our streets filled with people dying from drugs, littered with people dying on the sidewalks and needles in their arms. When we see children being abused in schools, our fellow students being indoctrinated, brainwashed to hate themselves, to hate their fellow countrymen. All of this happening. Of course, how can anyone be proud of this country? And how have our politicians responded to all this? What was happening? Well, Trump entered this back in 2015. He was talking to people on the campaign trail. They always say this to him. He said that they would go around to campaigns and say this. The sun will rise, the moon will set, and all sorts of wonderful things will happen. And people were saying to them.
So the speaker addressed them, spoke on many other issues, talked about the fact that they should rise up, that they shouldn't keep their voices muted, that the culture, the American culture was being destroyed. It was important for them to make their voices heard.
I'm speaking to you guys today. I want you guys to remember who we are. We are not cowards. We are not less than these people. That we have the ability to change world history if we to this. We did it back in 2016. We took the universities back, and we fought back, and we put them in their place. In 2020, we did the same thing in Virginia. We have the ability to change everything and make this world a better place, only if we actually fight.
Some of the young people also that we spoke to made their voices heard.
And we came to observe a college Republican meeting, and we decided to speak to one of the members. I'll let him introduce himself. I think he's the vice president. I'll let him introduce himself, and then we'll carry on. So, hi, and tell us who you are.
So, hi, my name is Ethan Vinod. I am the vice president of the University of Maryland College Republicans. I am a sophomore here, and I'm very happy to talk to you guys.
All right. So, very briefly, he told us how he became a conservative. I just wanted to tell us briefly why he supported Donald Trump and why he thinks other young people should support him.
So I think that at this point in the race that Donald Trump is the clear answer, especially after he beat Nikki Haley in her own state, in her own primary. It's very clear that as an incumbent president that he should be the nominee. And I understand that there are some people who, even within the Republican Party, we need to win, and Trump is the answer. And especially for young people, like as a cancer.
Who our candidate will be. We are unsure as to who we will select to be our next president, vice president, but we are united via the principles of small government, being pro-life from womb to tomb, as well as what else the party has put forward in its official publications. I support Trump, not because I necessarily agree with him policy-wise. I think his results speak for himself. It's easy to say you will do X, you will do Y, you will do Z, and it's another thing to do A, B, and C. Trump during his first 4 years brought economic stability, brought record Wall Street returns, so in the stock market. He also brought lasting social peace. He was able to navigate complex times like the George Floyd riots and things like that. Trump's presidency also benefited the world. We had a Russia that didn't aggress on any other nation. We now have an Israel versus Palestine conflict as we're seeing right now. I think Trump's standard of leadership has shown the world that if they try to make moves that are contrary to what the U.S. has in its own priority, that there will be consequences. For example, Trump going after a top ISIS leader in the days after just showing the American flag in one of his tweets.
I also had the opportunity to speak to two ladies. In fact, it was a mother and a daughter combination who were at the CPAC event. I had a chance to speak to them, and that conversation was also quite revealing.
Are you Trump supporters? Is it a family tradition? Is it a family tradition?
Well, most of our families conservative, but it's not a tradition. Everyone thinks differently. We have a couple that may not necessarily be as conservative as we are. Two of them are.
So what attracts you?
Freedom. Yeah. Because we're heroes and fighting for us. He doesn't give up. He's resilient. Yeah, he's great.
So
role model.
Oh, he's a role model.
Well, just like he's inspiring. Everything he has done, he does not give up in anything.
Right. So he's persistent.
Yeah. And he cares. He actually wants to change.
So the change factor is a big deal.
And there's a lot of things.
When I come to man, what about you? What you find appealing?
He's not afraid to tell the world what he believes. He has strong conservative values. He'll fight to the bitter end for us, and he'll not give up. In fact, they're trying to put him in jail. They're taking all his money, all his property, his family away. He keeps hiding from us. And he believes in conservative values, and he follows through on his promises. We have the best economy and the best 4 years in the president.
Right. So when you say they're trying to put him in jail, you don't believe any of the stuff?
Any of the stuff is like they want to take documents that he reviewed when he was president. They're saying that he should not be having those documents in his position. First of all, he's seated. And so therefore, what's the big deal? Second of all, the presidential act, I believe you can take documents and keep it. And third of all, they're trying to get documents they say that has information that might put these people themselves in very important information that they're trying to take away from Donald Trump, from the American people.
Oh, she's a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Now there's one charge, and then they're saying he inflated his real estate properties, which really is a normal.
25 days to go. By the time we come on Thursday, it will be 23 days to go. It's always a pleasure to come to you. But let's hear what the last set of text messages. Fatih, you are first. What are people saying?
All right, thank you. So this is coming from Jawad Mustafa, and he thinks the article is seeking to protect the political parties in Parliament. The article is seeking to protect the political parties in Parliament. In this case, an independent member of Parliament is excluded. Edward Dugbaza says Supreme Court are the heartbeat or the conscience of every country. Ghana's Supreme Court is just plain politics. This is not law. We expect them to act with a high level of integrity. And lastly, coming from Mahami Adams, he says the current happening in the Parliament is a warning to everyone in NPP for voting against our own PCs. We shouldn't make that mistake again in this country. It's clear, inshallah, the NPP and Dr. Bawumia is winning the election, and Ghana will continue to move forward. We can't afford to lose the quality leadership and ideas of Bawumia. What do you have for us?
So from Andrews Owusu, he says, watching live from Tennessee, Trump's win is a win for common sense. Democrats are going too extreme. Boys playing in girls' sports and boys using girls' bathrooms are too extreme. If they keep up with these things, they will continue to lose their base, and this is black votes. From Zakaria, he says, Mr. Paul, you are a blessing to journalism, to Ghanaian people. Patrick Way says, Paul has made the law very simple. And lastly, from Nana Bredu, he says, Paul and show, this is the standard of journalism in Ghana. Over to you, Kobe.
All right, so General L. Coleman, he says, Apostle Paul, Ephesians 5:11 says, take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. That's what the Supreme Court just did. They have exposed the unruly speaker, Badbin, the constitutional violator, the rebel leader, aka number 3, with his insurgent, seditious lawbreakers, have been shown their smoothness level at the Supreme Court 5-2 ruling. Pop G says, these are things NDC don't.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Praise God. Christianity is not a religion, neither is it a joining of a church and doing the Christian things like praying and giving and so on. Hallelujah. Christianity is the outworking of God's own kind of life received into the spirit of a man. Whoa! This divine life in the heart of a man makes him righteous. It keeps him healthy